The colony streets were loud and bright, filled with human voices, music, and the buzzing sound of hoverbikes. But she walked through them like a ghost. No one called her name. No one even knew if she had one. She was the alien Orphan, the strange girl from the wrecked starship that crashed 10 years ago. People said she was found as a small child, barely alive, hidden under the burnt metal of her destroyed home. Since then, she had grown up in the shadows of this human colony, always silent, always alone. Her skin was pale silver, smooth like glass under moonlight. Her eyes were large and glowing faint blue in the dark. Her thin hair looked like silver threads that caught the light. Beautiful in a strange way, yet no one saw her as beautiful. They only saw her as wrong. Every morning, when the food markets opened, she stood far from the crowd. She waited until the sellers threw away rotten fruit or broken bread. Then quietly, she would collect the scraps, hide them in a small cloth bag, and disappear into the old scrapyard behind the colony walls. Children sometimes followed her, not out of kindness, but to throw stones. "Look, the alien freak," they shouted, laughing. She never answered. She just kept walking, eyes down, shoulders trembling. People said she did not speak. Some even said she could not feel. But none of them saw her at night. At night, she sat on the cold metal floor of her tiny shack in the scrapyard, whispering words in her broken voice, words from her lost language, songs from a world that no longer existed. Sometimes tears rolled down her face, glowing faintly in the dark. She would wipe them away quickly, as if ashamed of having them at all. No one had ever been close to her. No one had ever touched her hand. No one had ever called her she, only it. To them, she was not a girl, not a woman, not someone. She was only a leftover machine from an alien crash, something to avoid, something to fear, something that did not belong. She knew this. She had known it all her life. So she stayed invisible. She had made her home from broken things, old ship panels, cracked plastic sheets, and metal scraps. She repaired little machines she found in the trash, sometimes old drones, or cleaning bots would start moving again because of her small, clever hands. Then she would smile just a little before turning serious again, like smiling was something dangerous. In the colony, people whispered that she was cursed. "Don't go near her," they said. "She brings bad luck." Even the workers who passed by the scrapyard turned their faces away. No one gave her work. No one gave her food. No one gave her hope. Yet, she survived. Quietly, patiently, like a shadow that refused to disappear. One cold evening, rain fell hard across the colony. Streets became rivers of mud. People ran into their homes, closing their doors. Lights turned on behind windows, warm and golden. She had no window, no door, no warmth. She sat alone under a broken roof panel, knees hugged close, shivering. Water dripped from her silver hair. Her clothes were thin and torn. Her bag of food scraps was empty. She stared at the distant lights of the colony, watching families laugh together through the glass. She had no one to laugh with. Thunder roared. She flinched. For a moment, she wished the sky would break and take her away. But then, she felt something. Eyes. Someone was watching her. Far across the street, hidden under the hood of a dark coat, stood a human. He was tall, young, and still. He had stopped walking. His eyes were fixed on her, not with disgust or fear, but something different, something quiet, something curious. She froze, heart beating fast. Humans never looked at her like that. They never looked at her at all. The man did not move closer. He just stood there, in the rain, as if trying to understand what he was seeing. Then slowly, he walked away. She stared long after he was gone, unsure why her chest felt strange, warm, and painful at once. No one ever looked at her. No one. Until now. She pulled her knees tighter and whispered in her soft, broken voice, "Why?" Her voice was swallowed by the sound of rain, But somewhere in the distance, the human stopped once more and looked back just for a second, as if he had heard her. The human's name was Aaron. He had arrived at the colony only a week ago, carrying a small bag and bigger dreams. He was a mechanic, an engineer, and a quiet thinker. He liked to build things from broken parts like puzzles waiting to be solved. Aaron had heard the stories about her even before he saw her. The alien Orphan, people whispered. She lives like a rat in the scrapyard. She has no soul, no feelings. Stay away from her. He had nodded politely back then. He did not care for gossip. He only believed in what he saw with his own eyes. And now, he had seen her. That night in the rain, she was like a figure made from sadness, a thin silver shadow curled up alone, her glowing eyes dim as dying stars. Something inside Aaron had shifted when he looked at her. He did not know why. Maybe it was the way she did not look back with anger, only quiet pain. Maybe it was because she looked like someone who had stopped hoping, but still kept breathing. For the next few days, he could not stop thinking about her. He worked at the colony repair station during the day, fixing delivery drones and old mining bots. But his mind wandered. He would picture her small hands, the way they had carefully held the torn bag. He wondered how she survived, how she lived. Most people in the colony never wondered. They just turned their faces away. One evening, when his shift ended, Aaron took a different path home, not toward the bright central streets, but toward the broken edge of the colony. Toward her. The scrapyard was silent. Rusted machines lay like the bones of giant beasts. Metal sheets clanged in the cold wind. And there she was. She was sitting on top of an old cargo crate, legs crossed, working on something small in her lap. The orange light from her tiny lantern flickered on her silver skin. She did not see him yet. Aaron stepped closer quietly. He saw now what she was holding. A broken cleaning drone, its circuits exposed. Her thin fingers moved quickly, connecting wires, adjusting tiny gears. She worked with the calm focus of someone who had done this 1,000 times. Suddenly, the drone twitched and floated an inch above her hands. Her eyes lit up for half a second, a tiny spark of pride, then quickly faded back to emptiness. She set the drone down gently, like putting a baby to sleep. Aaron's breath caught. No one had ever told him she could do this. She was not just surviving, she was creating. She turned her head then and saw him. Her glowing blue eyes widened. Her shoulders stiffened. She didn't run, but she looked ready to. Aaron raised his hand slowly. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." She said nothing, only watched him like a silent animal unsure if it should flee or stay. "I saw you that night," he continued, "in the rain." Still no answer. The wind rattled the scrap metal around them. Aaron took one slow step closer. "You fixed that drone," he said. "That's amazing." Her fingers tightened around the edge of the crate. "No," she whispered finally, voice cracked like dry leaves. "Not amazing. Just not broken." Aaron blinked. Her voice was soft, almost fragile, but full of something he did not expect. Pain and pride mixed together. He wanted to say more, but heavy boots crunched behind him. 2 men from the colony patrol walked by, flashlights sweeping the junk piles. They saw Aaron standing near her and stopped. "Hey," one of them barked. "Don't waste your time on that thing." "She's not," Aaron began, but they laughed and walked off. "She's cursed," one of them muttered as they left. "Don't get infected." Aaron stayed silent until their voices were gone. Then he looked at her again. She had pulled her knees close, eyes back to the ground, as if she had folded back into invisibility. Aaron felt something rise inside him. Anger, not at her, but at the world around her. They saw only a thing. He had seen something else. Someone. "I'll come back," he said quietly. She flinched like he had shouted, then stared at him, confused. "Why?" she asked. No one had ever asked her that question before. No one had ever needed to. Erin smiled faintly. Because I want to. He turned and walked away before she could answer. Behind him, her voice floated softly through the cold air. Why? But this time, there was something new in it. Not fear, not sadness, hope. So small it almost wasn't there, but it was. And for the first time she watched someone walk away and hoped they might return. 3 days passed. Rain came and went. The scrapyard stayed silent, and then he returned. Aaron walked slowly through the broken maze of machines. His boots crunched over rusted bolts and shattered glass. He carried a small paper box in his hands, holding it carefully as if it was something alive. He found her in the same place, curled on the cold floor of her tiny shack, knees against her chest, staring at nothing. She did not move when he stopped outside. She only watched him with cautious, glowing eyes. "I brought food," he said softly. No answer. He placed the box on the ground and stepped back. Steam rose from inside, the smell of warm bread and sweet fruit. Her eyes flickered toward it, then back to him. "You want me to eat?" she asked, her voice so faint he almost didn't hear it. "Yes," Aaron said. "It's yours." She stared, frozen like she didn't believe it. Slowly, with shaking fingers, she reached for the box. She opened it carefully, like she expected it to explode. When nothing happened, she pulled out the soft bread and took a tiny bite. Her eyes widened. She chewed like someone tasting sunlight for the first time. Aaron smiled gently. "Good?" She blinked at him. "Warm," she whispered, then quickly looked down as if the word had escaped without permission. They sat in silence while she finished the bread. Wind howled around the scrapyard walls, but inside her shack it was quiet. Safe. Aaron finally spoke again. "You live here alone?" "Yes, always?" "Yes," she said no more. Her answers were thin, broken pieces of sound. But Aaron heard something behind them, fear and longing. He looked around her little space. The walls were built from scrap panels full of holes. A cracked screen lay on the floor, glowing faintly with alien symbols. An old blanket was folded in the corner like a treasure. "You fixed that drone," he said. "I saw you," she tensed. "I fix things, not people." "I think you fix more than you know," she frowned, confused. Aaron picked up a tiny gear lying beside her. "Where did you learn this?" Her glowing eyes dimmed. "My family?" "Before the fire." "Before the crash." Her voice cracked like something breaking inside. "They are gone." The words fell heavy in the air. "I'm sorry," Aaron said quietly. She nodded once, stiff, like if she moved too much the tears inside her would spill out. "No one said that before," she whispered. "No one." "No one." Aaron felt his chest tighten. How could a whole colony live beside her and never see her as someone? "Do you have a name?" he asked. She hesitated. Then softly, "Lyra." The sound was delicate, like a forgotten melody. "Lyra," Aaron repeated gently. Her eyes flickered. Hearing her name from another mouth seemed to shake her. She hugged her knees tighter but did not look away. Aaron smiled. "That's a beautiful name." "No," she whispered quickly. "Not beautiful. Not me. Maybe you just forgot how to see it." She stared at him like he was speaking a language she didn't know. No one had ever called her name beautiful. No one had ever spoken to her like this at all. They sat in silence again. But it was not the cold silence of strangers anymore. It was soft, new. Aaron stood up slowly. "I should go." Her body stiffened. She looked at him sharply, panic flashing across her face like lightning. "Will you come back?" she asked suddenly. The words escaped her before she could stop them. Her voice trembled. Aaron's smile deepened. "Yes, I will." She stared at him, breath caught in her chest. "Why?" she whispered. He thought for a moment, looking at her. This strange, fragile, clever soul who had survived in a world that refused to see her. "Because," he said softly, "you deserve someone who does." Then he turned and walked into the night. Lyra stayed still for a long time, the half-empty box of fruit beside her. Her heart felt strange, full, aching, and light all at once. She touched her lips as if checking if they were really smiling. Her first smile in years. Outside, the scrapyard winds howled, but she didn't hear them anymore. Because for the first time in her life, Someone had promised to return. And she believed him. Lyra waited. Every sound in the scrapyard made her heart jump. Every shadow looked like him for a moment. She hated herself for hoping, yet she hoped anyway, and then, one quiet evening, he returned. Aaron came with a backpack on his shoulder and a smile in his eyes. "I brought something," he said softly. Lyra stayed near her doorway, half hidden, glowing eyes wide and careful. "What?" she whispered. He opened the bag and pulled out a small tool kit, shiny pliers, new wires, a working micro-solder pen. They gleamed like tiny stars in the dying sunlight. "For you," he said, "if you want." Her hands trembled as she took them. She looked at him as if he had just handed her pieces of the universe. "Why, give me this?" she asked. "Because you fix things," he said gently, "and no one has ever fixed you." Lyra didn't understand the second part, but his voice made something warm stir inside her chest. Something she didn't have a name for. That night they worked side by side. She showed him how she built tiny machines from scrap. Silent, precise, graceful. He showed her how to clean the wires, how to use the solder pen to fuse delicate parts. They did not talk much. They didn't need to. The soft buzz of tools, the glow of wires, the smell of warm metal. This became their language. As days passed, he came again. And again. Each time carrying more than tools, food, cloth, books. Things he said were spare. Things she had never dared to imagine owning. He helped patch the holes in her shack with strong panels. He strung small lights across the ceiling. He fixed a heater from old mining parts so her space would not freeze at night. Lyra watched it all like someone dreaming with open eyes. No one had ever done anything for her, not once, and now this human was building a home around her, quietly, piece by piece. At first, she didn't trust it. She kept expecting him to vanish. People always left. But he didn't. Sometimes she would wake in the night and find the heater glowing gently, the soft hum of the repaired bots she had made dancing around her feet. And she would smile in the dark, thinking of him. Aaron started teaching her human words, simple ones, slow and careful. "Light," he said, touching the small lamp. "Book," he said, holding up a torn manual. "Home," he whispered, pointing to her shack. "Not home," she said quickly, shaking her head. "Just place." "Then let's make it one," he answered. She didn't speak, but her glowing eyes softened. They laughed sometimes now. The first time she dropped a screw and it rolled into a pile of scrap. They both reached for it at the same time and bumped heads. She gasped, shocked, and then a tiny giggle escaped her lips. It sounded strange and beautiful, like music played on glass. Aaron froze, smiling wide as if he had just found treasure. "You laughed," he said softly. She looked down, shy. "Did not." "You did." Her cheeks glimmered faint blue as she hid her face behind her hands. But after that night, laughter came easier. They built little drones together that danced in circles, glowing like fireflies. They repaired a broken screen so it showed the stars again, shimmering across her wall. They made a tiny world of light inside the scrapyard darkness. Outside, the colony kept whispering. People said, "That engineer is wasting his time. Why is he always near the alien? Something is wrong with him." But inside her little world, none of it reached them. One evening, as they sat on the floor eating warm bread, Lyra looked at him quietly. "Why? Are you here?" she asked. Aaron looked at her, really looked at her. "At first, I didn't know," he said honestly. "But now, I think it's because you make broken things beautiful." Her heart caught. She turned away quickly so he wouldn't see her eyes shining. No one had ever said such words to her. No one had ever seen beauty in her until now. That night, when Aaron left, Lyra stayed awake staring at the glowing drones they had built. They floated softly in circles like tiny stars. For the first time, her world did not feel empty. For the first time, she was not just surviving. She was living, and she knew deep inside her quiet heart, if he kept coming back, she might learn how to be human. The whispers began as soft ripples. Then they became waves. At first, people only noticed Aaron's footsteps heading toward the scrapyard every evening. Then they noticed the soft glow from inside the orphan's shack. Then they saw her, Lyra, walking a little less like a ghost, a little more like someone alive, and they hated it. "She's changing," someone muttered at the market. "Because of him," another hissed. "She's dangerous," warned a patrol guard. Soon she will think she belongs here. Soon the whispers turned to shouts. Aaron felt it in the way people stared when he passed. Their eyes were sharp, cold like knives. The repair station workers stopped talking when he entered the room. One man spat on the floor near his boots. "She's not human," the man growled. "She's not meant for this world." Aaron said nothing, but inside his chest something burned. They did not know her. They never even tried. That night he reached the scrapyard and found Lyra sitting on the roof of her shack, staring at the stars. Her silver hair caught the moonlight. She looked peaceful and lonely at the same time. "They know," he said quietly. She tilted her head. "No, what?" "That I come here. That I'm with you." Her glowing eyes dimmed. "Oh," she whispered. "They will hate you now." "They already do." Silence hung between them. The wind rattled the old metal walls around them like dry bones. "Maybe. Stop coming," she said softly, not looking at him. "Safer?" Aaron climbed up to sit beside her. "No," she turned, shocked. "Why?" "Because they are wrong," he said simply. "They see a monster." "I see you," her breath caught. No one had ever said that before. She lowered her gaze and a tiny trembling smile touched her lips, only for a second. But the storm came faster than they expected. The next evening, Aaron found her shack broken. Panels ripped apart. The little drones smashed into twisted pieces. The heater smashed to black rubble. Lyra sat in the ashes of her small world, knees pulled to her chest, not crying. "Just empty," Aaron froze. "Who did this?" She didn't answer. Her silver hair was covered in dust, her glowing eyes dim like fading embers. "They said," she whispered finally, "they said I tricked you, that I poisoned you, that you are sick now." Aaron knelt beside her, fury shaking his hands. "You didn't do this." "They did. They will hurt you too," she said. Her voice was calm, but her fingers were trembling hard. "They hurt everything I touch." Aaron took her hands gently, holding them steady. "Listen to me. You are not poison. You are not a curse." She stared at him, confused, like she wanted to believe but didn't know how. "Then why?" Her voice cracked. "Why does everyone hate me?" "Because they are afraid of what they don't understand." She looked away. "Then I should disappear." "No," he said firmly, pulling her closer. "You should exist," louder. For a moment, they stayed like that, her fragile frame shaking against his chest, his arms holding her like she might shatter if he let go. Then heavy footsteps echoed through the scrapyard. Shadows moved between the piles of metal. 3 colony men stood at the edge, holding torches. Their faces were hard, full of hate. "Get away from it, Aaron," one barked. "She's cursed." Aaron stood, still holding Lyra's hand. "She's not cursed. She's someone," they sneered. "She's not a woman. She's a thing." "She's more human than any of you," Aaron shot back. The men stepped closer. One kicked a broken bot aside, metal screaming as it hit the ground. Lyra shrank behind Aaron's back, trembling. "Stay away from her," Aaron warned. They laughed. "Or what? You'll fight your own kind for this thing?" "Yes," he said without hesitation. "For her, yes." The men stared at him, shocked, and then turned away, muttering curses as they left. The firelight faded with their footsteps, leaving silence behind. Aaron turned back to her. She was still shaking, glowing eyes wet. "They will never stop," she whispered. "Never." "Then let them watch," he said softly. "We'll build again. Stronger this time." Her hands were still trembling, but they curled around his fingers, holding them tightly, and for the first time she did not hide her tears. She let them fall, glowing faint blue while he brushed them away gently. The storm had come, but she was not alone in it anymore. The scrapyard was quiet again, but it was not the same quiet as before. It was a broken quiet, like the silence after a scream. Days passed. Lyra rebuilt her little home piece by piece, her hands steady but her eyes hollow. Aaron helped her silently, repairing walls, replacing shattered drones, setting up lights again. They worked side by side, but spoke very little. Fear hung between them, heavy as smoke. At night she sat alone, hugging her knees, staring at the glowing lights they had once made together. They looked dim now, like dying stars. She whispered to herself in her lost language, soft, cracked words like pieces of old songs. She was afraid that one day he would not come back, afraid that the hatred outside would tear him away. And Aaron was afraid too, but not of them. of losing her. One evening, after fixing the final hole in her roof, Aaron stepped outside and stared at the rusted skyline. "They won't stop," he said quietly. Lyra stood behind him, silent. "They will keep trying to break this." "To break you?" "I know," she whispered. Aaron turned to her. His eyes were calm, steady. "Then maybe we stop hiding," her breath caught. "What do you mean?" "I mean," he said gently, "come with me. Leave this place. Live with me." The words hung in the air, warm and terrifying. Lyra froze. Her glowing eyes widened. "No," she whispered. "I will ruin your life." "You are my life," Aaron said simply. She stepped back like he had struck her. "Don't say that," she whispered, voice trembling. "Humans do not say that to things like me." "You are not a thing," he said firmly. "You are Lyra." Her name and his voice made her heart ache. She looked at him, eyes shining with tears she didn't want to show. "No one ever chose me," she whispered. "I do." She shook her head fast, tears spilling. "You will regret." "I won't. You will lose everything. I will gain you." Silence stretched between them, full of fear and hope tangled together like wires. Aaron slowly reached out his hand. "Come with me." Lyra stared at it like it was fire, beautiful, dangerous. Her fingers trembled, then slowly she placed her hand in his, warm, fragile, alive. Aaron smiled, soft and sure. "Then let's go home," she gasped quietly. The word home had always been just sound to her. Now for the first time it felt real. That night they walked through the colony streets together. People stopped, stared, whispered. "She's walking with him." They're holding hands. Is he mad? But Aaron did not let go of her hand, and Lyra did not lower her glowing eyes. They reached his small workshop on the edge of the colony. The air smelled of clean metal and warm light. He opened the door gently, like opening a future. "This is yours too now," he said. Lyra stood at the threshold, frozen. Her eyes swept the room, the shelves of tools, the soft chair, the wide window full of stars. She looked small inside it, like a lost bird. "Mine?" she whispered. "Yes." She stepped inside, slow and trembling. Her silver hair shimmered under the warm light. Her bare feet made no sound on the wooden floor. For the first time in her life, she was inside a place not made of scraps. A place not built for survival, but for living. Aaron set her bag on the table and smiled. "You can build here, or rest, or just be." She stared at him, lost for words. Then she whispered, almost too soft to hear, "I don't know how to be." "That's okay," he said. "I'll be here while you learn." Her eyes filled. She pressed her hand to her chest like her heart was too full to hold. And that night, while the whole colony whispered in cold shadows, Lyra curled on the soft couch under a warm blanket and slept without fear for the first time in her life. Not alone. Not invisible, chosen. Weeks turned into months, and the whispers slowly turned into silence. People still stared when they passed, Aaron and Lyra, walking side by side through the colony streets. But their stares were different now. Not sharp like knives. Just quiet. Uncertain. Because she was no longer a ghost. Lyra's steps were steady now. Her glowing eyes were calm, no longer darting like prey. She wore a simple dress Aaron had sewn from soft white cloth, and her silver hair shone like threads of light in the sun. Inside Aaron's workshop, life bloomed. Lyra filled the walls with her tiny machines, glowing drones, floating lamps, spider-like cleaners that hummed softly across the floor. She worked all day, her clever hands moving fast, building wonders from broken things. And sometimes she laughed. The sound was still soft, but it was real, like bells ringing in gentle wind. Aaron would pause just to hear it, smiling like a man who had found the rarest treasure in the galaxy. They lived quietly. They lived like they belonged to each other. But outside, the colony prepared for the annual Festival of Stars, a night when everyone gathered in the square under the open sky, lights glowing, music rising, and couples dancing in circles while the stars burned bright overhead. Aaron wanted to take her. "Everyone goes," he said, smiling as he tightened a bolt on her new drone. "You should see it." Lyra's hands froze. They will stare. Let them. They will laugh. Let them. They will hate. Then they will waste their night hating. And we will dance. She stared at him, eyes wide, uncertain. I do not know how. I'll teach you. That night, in the quiet of the workshop, Aaron cleared a space on the floor. He played soft music from an old speaker, slow, gentle, like falling starlight. Stand here, he said, holding out his hand. Lyra trembled. I will break it. You won't. She placed her glowing hand in his. He guided her gently, one step, then another. Her bare feet slid awkwardly at first, bumping into his boots. She gasped, flustered. Aaron chuckled. See? Still not broken. Slowly, carefully, she followed his steps. Her movements were hesitant, but graceful, like water learning to flow again. Their shadows danced on the walls, long and soft. And then, she smiled. Not the small, shy smile she gave before. This was bright, open, unstoppable. Aaron stared like he had just seen sunrise. When the music ended, she stood still, chest rising fast. That was dancing? She asked. Yes, he whispered. That was beautiful. The festival night came. The square was alive with music, laughter, and glowing lanterns hanging like captured stars. Couples spun in circles, dresses and coats twirling like colors in the wind. The air was full of joy. And then the crowd fell silent. Because Aaron walked into the square holding her hand, holding Lyra's hand. She walked beside him, head high, silver hair flowing like moonlight, eyes glowing like distant stars. She wore the white dress he had sewn, and her steps were steady and proud. No one spoke. The music slowed. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Aaron led her into the center. He placed her trembling hand on his shoulder and smiled. Just like before, he whispered. She nodded once, and they danced. Slow, gentle, under the open stars in the heart of the colony that had once called her cursed, she moved like she belonged. Because she did. People watched, silent, some with wide eyes, some with soft smiles they didn't understand, some looking away, unsure why their hearts felt strange. When the song ended, Aaron lifted her hand to his lips and kissed it. Lyra's glowing eyes shimmered with tears, but this time, they were not tears of pain. They were joy. She looked around at the crowd, at the whole world that had once called her it, and spoke clearly, her voice ringing like light. My name is Lyra, and no one laughed. No one spoke. No one dared to, because they finally saw her. Not as a thing, not as a curse, not as an alien, as a woman. And under the stars, wrapped in Aaron's arms, she smiled like someone who had been found, and chosen, and loved. For the first time she was not invisible, she was unforgettable,